So we continue on with our journey with the gunslinger, Roland Deschain, as we get deeper into the Dark Tower series. That's what we're going to talk about today. Second book, The Drawing of Three. And this one seems to be a favorite of the series for a lot of people that I have talked to. It definitely has pulled me further into the series. I thought this one was a lot of fun. It had some highs and lows and the lobstrosities. Can we talk about the lobstrosities? The lobstrosities. Imagine if down by the ocean there were these giant lobster creatures that just want to eat you. They want to eat your fingers and your toes and you and just eat you up in a horrible way with, they're going to tear you apart with their claws. So that's really disturbing. So we come back into the series, and Roland has made it to the beach, and he's dreaming of when the man in black, who he had pursued across the lands and the desert and time and space, and he finally caught up to him in the last book. The man in black read him tarot cards, and one of the ones that he had pulled was the sailor card. And so he's dreaming about this, and he's dreaming about the boy Jake, who in the prior book he basically had sacrificed so that he could continue his journey to the tower and may now be damned because of it. I'm not quite sure. So he dreams about this, and he dreams about Jake drowning and no one throwing him a line, but then suddenly he's dreaming that he's the one drowning, and he's like, okay, I don't feel as bad anymore. It's me. I'd rather drown than have Jake drown. And then he wakes up to find that like there's water washing up on him, and he's way too close to the water, and if it touches his bullets they're gonna be ruined, and he's not really gonna have any protection, and he's already, some of them can already be like, see that they're soaked. And he starts hearing these weird noises, and these lobster creatures, the lobstrosities, come out of the water. One of them attacks him as he's trying to like scuffle back, and he's all messed up. He is just not doing so good at this point in time. And one of the lobstrosities like cuts off two of his fingers and eats them. He loses a toe, but eventually he escapes this thing and gets away from them. But he's still not doing so great. And he's like, all right, well, maybe I'm gonna die here. But if he did, we wouldn't have more books in the future now, would we? Well, maybe we would. I don't know. Probably not. He eventually sees a door just standing on the beach, nothing else around it, and so he knows this is where he's going for his drawing of three. Comes to the first door, and on the first door it says, "The prisoner." And when he first opens it, he looks, and it's like he sees the earth way down there in the sky, and like if he went in there he would just fall and probably die. So he's like, what the F? And he closes the door really quick. And then, his mind's going and he's thinking about stuff, and eventually he convinces himself to open the door again. So he opens it again, and then he's looking around, and he realizes he's seeing through someone's eyes. And the person's eyes that he's seeing through is Eddie Dean, who is 21, and he is a heroin addict. And right now he's on a plane coming back from the Caribbean, I believe. It was somewhere tropical, and he has some kilos of cocaine taped to the inside of his shirt. So he's gonna try to bring that in, and he's, just trying to play cool and not be nervous and all of that stuff. Roland knows that he needs to bring him through this doorway. Not so sure how that's gonna happen. So he goes through the door, and then he steps into Eddie Dean. Eddie Dean, eventually, the stewardess that has talked to him kind of starts to suspect him. Yeah, so there's a good chance he is not going to make it out of the situation, especially with all the cocaine on him. Like, there's nowhere to go. He's on an airplane. What the heck is he going to do? So Roland has to deal with this situation. And it's the drawing of three. So once this situation comes to fruition and whatever happens, he has to draw two more people. So there are two more doors, which were each also represented by a tarot card. The next door after this one is the Lady of Shadows, where he meets Odetta and Detta, which is one person who is schizophrenic and has one very pleasant persona and one vicious, gnarly, fiery woman. The third door is Jack Mort. This is the Pusher, or Death, but not for Roland. Now the Pusher, the reason he's called that is Because he has a pastime outside of his job as an accountant where he likes to just push people into traffic in New York City so that they die. So he's kind of an evil sack of crap. He's gonna have to get all of these people in some way or another through the door or to draw 3 for him in order to continue on to find the Dark Tower. So how will he convince them? How will he make this happen? I love this one even more than the first one, which I know is what most people feel, because they feel a lot of people feel the first one's boring. I like the first one. As I've said before, I thought it set the stage nicely. This one, yeah, it's way better. It's definitely way better. It's more fun. It's pretty freaking wild. And I love how this is fantasy, but it flickers into like the real world and real time frames with real historical things that were happening. I think that's really cool. And I love that a lot of it takes place in New York City, like just having that atmosphere, the grittiness of it, how the characters are. It's pretty fantastic. Yeah, this one, excited for the next book. I'll be reading the next one next month. Like I said, I'm going to do one a month. We'll do all the videos. Eventually, when I'm done with that, we're going to put them in a playlist. And also, I am going to be doing a upcoming podcast with Jason's Weird Reads, where we're going to go through and kind of dissect each book of the Dark Tower series. And that will be on his Weird Reads podcast. I will find a link for that, and I will put that down in the description. I'm not sure when the first episode is going to come out. We do have the first one recorded. We'll probably be recording the second one pretty soon. And so that should be pretty cool. I am really enjoying the series so far. So determined that we will finish it. Obviously, reading it with someone like this, I will have an accountability partner. So that's cool. And I'm excited to see what happens in the next book. 2 of these books in the series are huge. One of them's like, I think 2 of them are almost like 900 pages. I want to say it's like The Wizard of Glass and the last one, which is called The Dark Tower. If you are a fan of fantasy and Stephen King and you haven't read this series yet, I can only tell you that I like it so far after reading 2, and we'll have more of a better outlook in the future. So keep an eye out for that. If you're a fan of Stephen King, the next video coming up will be about another Stephen King book, so stick around, check it out. And if you had fun hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.